Hi, I'm Bruno Aziza, reporting from the Musée de l'Informatique, which is the Museum of Information Technology here in Paris. It's a great symbol of where the information technology space has been and where it's going to be in the next 10 years. In fact, speaking of the next 10 years, I asked many of you across forums and networks on the internet what your opinion was of business intelligence over the next 10 years. Where did you think BI was going to be in 2020? Taking a look at past history and progress, if you were hoping that we would accelerate progress and see net new things in the next 10 years. I got some really interesting answers and great predictions here. Let me start with a few soft ones, and then we'll wrap up with my perspective on BI 2020. The first one that I thought was interesting was actually from this person, David, who was skeptical about our progress. Still a lot of issues in quality and integration. Hopeful that we can use Mashup effectively, and hopeful that there'll be progress on usability, so finally non-technical users will get value out of business intelligence. That is a very conservative one, David, and thanks for submitting that one. There's others like Jill from the US, for instance, that thinks that in 10 years data sources won't even matter, that even search engines won't even matter. In fact, she argues that she will be looking at computers that will understand the question, understand if they need to ask for clarity before they give the end user the answer. There are other people like Johan from Europe and Jeff from Canada that predicted that spreadsheets will be abandoned by 2020 because they're too labor intensive, and users will look for things that actually push answers before you ask them. Very similar to what Neil from the US said, and when he talked about this verbal interface and the fact that people won't necessarily interact with computers anymore, but they might talk into a computer, so the computer is easy to interact with. It's a new way to think about usability, and certainly a very interesting one. Philippe Neubourg, who actually runs this museum, had an interesting perspective also over the next 10 years. He thought that it would be all about search and being able to type in one line the question that we have, maybe looking for forecast, and get a bunch of answers based on that. So interesting predictions, both from a technology standpoint but also from a usability standpoint, which I think a lot of us are going to be challenged with over the next 10 years. So those are some of the interesting predictions. There's a lot more, and I hope that this video blog is going to be a catalyst for more and more discussion on the internet. I'm actually going to be at the Gartner BI Summit in London next week, and I'll be reporting back from there, and of course share with you what we've heard there. But let me wrap up by giving you 3 predictions on my end. The first one is this idea that I think collaboration and business intelligence are going to come closer together. We have technology now, and we're starting to get used to this idea that when we need to make a decision, it's more about just a report, but it's also about our ability to connect with an expert, the ability to tap into the brains of people inside our organization so we can complete the information and make a better decision. The second aspect, I think, is also along the same vein, this idea of unstructured information. A large amount of information we have here is unstructured, and we need a better way to capture this information so we can make better decisions. It's not just looking again at structured rows and columns of data, but it's also the ability to capture unstructured information and get that information fast in front of end users in a concise way, so they can make decisions. I think we'll be challenged with the large amount of data that's going to hit us, not just in volume, but in different types, video, audio, and we'll be challenged to figure out how we can use and turn this information from garbage to relevant information for each user type. I think that will be a big trend. And then finally, culture. As many of you know, I've dedicated a lot of time to this subject of culture because I think that over the last decade we might have given preference to gut feel decision making and a management style that was less quantitative or more data-oriented in its appreciation. I think the crisis is giving us an opportunity to reset that for the next 10 years, where data matters. And yes, wisdom is important, but wisdom has to be based on information, not just gut feel, because as I often joke, gut feel might be an indigestion. In any case, these are some of the predictions. Again, I hope this video blog was useful to you, and if you need to contact me, you can email me at bruno.aziza@microsoft.com. I'll talk to you soon.